So your desire is to learn more about animation. Okay, perfect. Let's practice how we can make an exploded animation with this beautifully created serving tray. This file is being shared with you, so please feel free to download it. The link is inside the video description. And before we continue, let's take a look at how I structured actually this file. You will see that I have two collections here, construction and baked. Let's take a look at the construction one. And I will select this part, Shift H, and hide everything else. And there you can see all the details, the groove, the handle, and if I go into edit mode, then we will see, whoa, this is actually completely solid. When we go to the modifiers, there you can see there are multiple modifiers at work. For example, the one that cuts the opening, the one that cuts the groove, and then the one that brings over the mirrored part. Alt H. For example, here, the same with this one. Shift H. There I just cut one modifier, just this groove out. Instead of hand modeling it, I simply did this via the modifier. Because then I don't have to manually move the CVs. I can kind of work like parametric modeling and explore joinery, etc. This was actually quite helpful when I was exploring the correct position for where these legs should be, because while I have the screws here, I also have this pin which cuts a hole through actually all the pieces. So this was again very useful. Shift H. Let's actually turn this off. There you see it's just half of a piece, and I do a cut, and then this result I mirror over, and then I mirror this over. No? And at the same time, Alt H, this pin also cuts the hole here. And there you see, I cut it and I mirror this over. Perfect. Alt H, very good. Okay, so to animate everything, I could logically select this piece, Shift select this one, Control P, or go Object and Parent. And then when I move this one, the Boolean object that cuts moves with it. And to hide it from rendering, where is the piece? It's now there, here. So this I could turn off. So it will be there due to the Boolean command, but it will not show up during rendering. That works actually pretty good. But the problem we will have here with this pin, if I select these two pieces and move so that this hole actually moves with it, and then I hide here these screws, there we see this hole isn't there. Well, that's because the pin is actually here. And this pin to cut the hole there needs to be there. Okay, but then you see here that hole is gone. So you see that problem because we use one piece to cut actually two objects. How do we do this? Well, we could make two copies of that cylinder, but then you notice things get way more complicated. So while for modeling, and this is actually really good, and it's kind of like in Fusion with parametric modeling, we are very systematically how we lay out everything. For animation, this is maybe not necessarily super ideal. That is the reason why I have this collection, where when I go into edit mode, you see everything is baked. Here, when I hide this and hide these pins, there are the holes. The mirror modifiers are still active because they're actually super helpful. They also don't really slow down the animation because nothing needs to be calculated, like the Boolean commands. That's the reason why I still keep them. And in addition, let's say like here, when I move this, I only have to animate one object, and the sister part or the brother part or the sibling will actually follow it, which kind of like cuts my work into half. So that's the main reason why everywhere I still have the mirror command. Very good. Okay. So I hope this basically kind of like gave you a good understanding about why we have here these two types of collections, the construction and then the baked. By the way, to bake something, to apply it, we simply go apply. Now you see now we have this modifier applied. So I will undo this step since I don't want this to be applied. And that's the same what I did also with the Boolean comments. Very good. So now we are ready to take a look at how we can actually animate this. So for animation purpose, what's really useful is before we start animating anything, because animation can be very time consuming, because you can quickly get lost in it. You want to make yourself a small storyline, either via small frames you sketch out, or you say like beginning and medium, whatever, via text, for example, just so you know how something should start. And I would like to make an animation where everything comes together out of maybe nowhere. So maybe I should actually start first with a camera. So I go to this view, add a camera. And there we are. There, look down and let's see. Go into the camera view. Okay, and then, yeah, how does this look? G and Y. Okay. Now you see this piece is out, but here this is actually in there. So maybe this camera is not, the position is not really that good. So let's see how this could look when we actually change the camera position. There it is. I will do the same trick again via maybe the how to rotate it. So I make myself a small empty. There we are. This camera, I will shift click on the empty, then we will parent it. And now I can rotate actually my camera very nicely around here. So this looks actually pretty good. Yeah. I will do one undo. I will actually move this one down to here and then set this to 90. 0. Okay. The main reason now is I also would like this empty to rotate my camera. There. So from the side, and then I go to a top view. There. Perfect. This way I can always go back to the empty and reset this to 0 and just, as you see, adjust this quite nice. Let's frame this. What about a square format? For the animation, okay, we can move the camera in a little bit more, 80. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. So maybe like this view. Good. And if I select this now, yeah, okay, cool. So as you can see, I'm checking from where do all these pieces maybe can come in. And I can play with the idea of, do they come from the side? Do they come from the bottom? It's actually pretty cool what we can do there. Okay, this does not actually look too bad. So I will move this to here, press T, so I can hide actually the toolbar. This will be my main 3D view where I will animate everything. Move this up a little bit. And then here I will set this to the graph editor. Okay. This piece now, I need to snap back to where it has to be. Okay, very good. There we are. Sweet. This is maybe a tick too big, maybe make 10, so it's nice and small. Very good. This empty, if I want, I could also hide, so I can't really see this right now. My camera M and go to the scene collection. Oh, it's parented to the empty actually. Very good. Okay. Very good. So Now I really need to figure out, okay, what goes first? So these come from the side, this maybe from the bottom. Yeah. So when this, for example, comes and then comes the sides, this piece hides actually the bottom pieces. So maybe this is actually what we should start showing first. So this could come in. Okay. Like there. Yeah. Because of the joinery, this maybe comes then from there. You zoop. Or this comes in and then this comes in. So you see like clock, how these pieces go together. The screws are kind of flop. They need to, that will be interesting. From the outside is easy, but how do we do actually the inside? Yeah. And then these pieces, clonk. Oh, look at that. These are parented. So they actually move there because R and Y. That's actually really nice. You see this piece only exists one time. It's mirrored over and then mirrored over. This exists one time. This is actually quite nice how we can then animate even this movement. Okay, cool. Let's go to N. This should be back maybe, was it 90 or 0? 0. Okay, very good. So, cool. Okay. Bring this to there. Yeah. Yeah, maybe these are actually the first pieces which come in maybe from the outside. Okay, very good. So now I will undo everything because I kind of like decided how everything should be. So Alt H, and there we are. Very good. Perfect. And yeah, so how do we do now the animation? We need to keyframe everything actually being outside of the screen. And here's one thing that's important. I want to move pieces so they are at even distances. So you see how here, there. And you see this is shorter, this is longer. So when I give 10 frames for this to move, this will have 10 frames, but a shorter distance. So ideally I want to have this be at a similar position. Easy trick, make yourself a circle there. And then this circle can be used as a guide. Actually, the circle needs to be bigger. There. Okay, very nice. Okay, then here, Shift D, Escape RX and 90. Because this, I simply move down to there. Okay. It is way out of the screen, but you see at the end later, the animation speed will be the same. Then, yeah, this will go down. Here we can be a little bit sloppy and just loosely bring it to there. We don't have to be precise to a millimeter. These actually will go to the side. There we are. How do we do these? Yeah, maybe to the side too. There, and then we set, or hold on. Let's undo actually. Everything comes down from the bottom. Yeah, let's bring this one down too. So not everything comes from the sides. So that's the outside, and the inside we can pull those together away. There we are. Okay, that's very good. These two things here are our reference objects. I can lock them, so I can't select them. Very good. Also this camera, I do not want to be selectable. When I press A, you see only these objects are selectable, nothing else. That makes no, the animation really easy. Everything is outside the keyframe on a circular path. That is pretty good. So what we do now is I have everything selected. I click one piece too, and now we do I insert keyframe, and all we need is location. Then I can go to maybe 10. So keyframe 10, and I have to select this inner piece there, this one, and move this one in. Okay. Nicely, I can give myself this little trick of more or less, I'm looking from the top, so I try to get this position quite closely because things will be animated. We just need to get close. There we are. This is pretty close. Very good. Yeah, and then I and location. So here's now our animation. Middle mouse button, shift middle mouse, but no, middle mouse button. So mouse wheel. Oh yeah, control middle mouse button stretches vertically or horizontal. Middle mouse button moves around and scroll wheel zooms in. So there we see now the animation along the y-axis. You see the y value is being changed. And now we can just play. Shift spacebar based on what you have. Okay. We can go to here and say 10 frames. Shift spacebar and you see it will loop. Okay. That's pretty fast. So maybe we will select everything and then G and then move this over to 20. Let's see with 20 frames. Shift spacebar. Yeah, that's better. G and go to 40 frames. Yeah, nice and slow. And after the fourth piece, we're going to fall asleep. So this is way too slow. No? The first was too fast. The second one was good. The third was too slow. So maybe 20 frames. Okay. Actually, maybe 15. Let's see. Okay. So this is now you see 15 frames for one movement. And now I need to keep this in mind. The next object, when should this actually come? So we have now at frame 15, we have the inside pieces. So that means now I could maybe, yeah, move this one in. So at frame 15, I press I for this object's location, and then I go to frame 30, so the same amount of frames, and bring this one in. G and Y, hold control, and this is to snaps to the wrong position. G and Y, I just move this one back. There. I think this will be good. Or hold on. No, actually here, G and Y, this has to be there. There's that piece. There's that other wood element, which will come from the bottom. There. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Then let's say, oh wait, we have to put the lag in. Wah, wah. So, shoot, sorry. No, that's actually good. So we do a keyframe there. Very good. So let's play this. Zack, 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 zack. Okay, good. What I should have actually moved in is the lag. The lag actually should have come in from the outside now. So you see how maybe through the animation doing this, I realized that I made a small mistake. Not really a big problem. So that's actually good to show how we can now move things also around. So this, how could I say that? This keyframe position is incorrect. So I will go to frame 1 and I will actually move this one. I will see what happens when I delete this. Yep, this is not good. Very, very fine. So we will move this one back up. And now I will try to recenter this as closely as possible. There we are. G and Z. It actually should be fairly easy. When I select this object, I can read out what is the Z height position. There we are. So U, there we are. Copy and paste. Now this is perfectly centered. And I will move this one kind of like to here. Okay, good. And then I and location. So I overwrote this initial location. So 30, very good. Now I for this location, and then I go to 30, and this piece I move over till it fits right in there. G and Y, there, nice and snug. Perfect. And then I and location. Now this piece, yeah, we animated already. So what do? This is actually fairly simple. I'm going to add more frames. What we all have to do is just these last 15 frames, we just move to the left. No, right. So B, select everything. G and X, and you see how this snaps. Tuck, and there we are. So we just moved it over, and there we are. Perfect. Sweet. So you start noticing this is actually pretty simple. There's this piece, okay, I, location, very nice. Then 5 and 10, go to a side view, G and bring this over. I would like this to maybe snap G and Z, snap to there, okay, I and location. Beautiful. At this point also I realized that this bottom plate is kind of silly where it is. So I will go to here and move this one up to there, and then I will override this position. Good, look at that. And welcome to the practice of being married to your work. That's always a running joke when I was in graduate school. If you want to do animation, cool, but keep in mind, you will be married to your work. Then this piece, now we can actually clonk, clonk, clonk. This piece is okay, but maybe I want to bring after this the screw over. Okay, so keyframe, location, then I go to 60, then the screw comes in. Very good. Bring this in, very nice. G and Y, there. Keyframe, thank you. And then this piece here, again, I will select the last 15 frames, so these two keyframes, G and X, and just move this over. So now we are actually at 17. You see, this makes more sense. Perfect. Cool. Let's do a play. Shift spacebar, actually, from frame 1. Yeah, cool, huh? So at this point, now it might make sense to bring actually the bottom plate down, but then we don't really see what's going on with these legs. So maybe at this point, let's also take this leg, and we do an eye and say rotation. We would like to keyframe this rotation too. 15 frames, let's do the same. Okay, and then we only rotate along the y-axis. We can, by the way, you see here how I locked these check marks. So now I can press simply R, and I don't have to press Y because it's locked. R and Y, sorry, R without Y, maybe like click and drag, let's say 98, 100, 100 maybe, okay. And I. Let's see how this works. Shift spacebar. Ah, beautiful. Maybe the transition is way too fast when actually it starts to do the rotation. So, whoa, our graph gets really big. So control and middle mouse button. So this is actually now here for the rotation. So let's go to 200. You see how we're growing our frames. Give this actually 15 frames of rest. G and X, and we move this over. There we are. And then shift spacebar. Clunk, clunk, clunk. Ah, yeah. There. Maybe this is a tick too long. Okay. So let's move this maybe back 10 frames. I really like working like in 5, 10, 15. Oh, let's see, 5 frames pause is actually sufficient. Yeah, maybe 10 frames. Let's see. That's good. Okay. So that means at this point now, we can bring down the plate. I. Location. Oh, why are you actually at 98? That is not good. So undo. Select this one. This should not have been actually at 98. So I moved the keyframes a little bit dirty. So hold on 1 second. I want to see clock. Okay, there's this one. Okay, so you stop at 75. Very good. And then that means 75, 80, 85. Okay, so this is the rotation. Very nice. G and X. I move this over. Good. This is 85 and 100. Beautiful. Good. 100. There. I. Location. 15 frames then. So 115. And then side view. G and Z. Bring this down. Should be able to snap to it. Not sure why the snapping here right now doesn't really like to work. Okay, let me just eyeball it down. I'm in an orthographic view, as you can see, and I just moved kind of like to one of these views. I can also hide these, so it's easier to see the part. I just press H now to hide, bring this down. There. And because also I modeled everything nice and clean, 3 centimeter, 0.25 millimeters, this actually should be at flat -2 centimeters because the object center point is right there. I did this actually on purpose. already when I modeled this because I knew when I have to do the animation, this will help me in terms of height position. So this is actually super close. So the Y position there you see, I'm just whatever little fraction off. But this is something we won't really see in the animation. Very good. So U, I, and do a location. I will do not do this, or actually I did. Okay, I will show you something else. So I would like this now to keyframe. Do we do the side? Actually, no, let's go with this one. We bring this one in. So you come in. This has a thickness of, I think, 1 centimeter. So gx minus 1. There we are. And very good. And now I move this cursor here. Plop. What happened? You see this jump back to the initial keyframe because I did not make any keyframe yet. So in case this happens, that's why. Gx minus 1. Wait, hold on. What happened? Gx minus 1. There, I and location. Beautiful. So at this point, and then this is the last piece, keyframe. And then this goes to 130. Bring this in. Let's see, G and Y. This one snaps perfectly, I and location. Cool. So we have 130 frames. Let's take a look. There we are. And let's play. Clong, clong, clong. Whoa. Oh, what happened there? What are you doing? So that's hilarious. I actually forgot to really set the first keyframe when it should start. So from the beginning, it's actually animating it. Okay, no problem. Easy to fix. In case you made the same mistake, I assume. So here is 115. So I have to go back 110 there. So this keyframe I have here should be there. Actually, I'm happy this accident happened because I could show you something. I will select these keyframes and now I press Shift D and look at that. I can make a copy and then move this in the timeline left and right, but obviously I want this to be right there. So press X and then it goes to there. And then I can zoom in more. G and X and snap. I can also press N and then take a look at where are these values. So position wise, this is X. Active keyframe. Hold on, I thought actually there's a readout to tell us where we are right now. Oh, maybe we're not. Maybe that changed the interface. Anyway, I can't really cover everything in this video anyway. So if you go to the documentation, if you Google Blender and manual online, it's a very brief manual, which is nice to study, and it shows how all these tools work. But what I wanted to say is, so when I have a keyframe here and I click it, it tells me where is actually this keyframe, and you see I can move it in terms of time. So 115, there we are. Perfect. And I thought maybe when I go to here, it would give me a readout of the graph. It does not. I would have to click actually this keyframe, which is at 100. Beautiful. Okay, so this way we fixed it. Shift spacebar. Clock, clock, clock. Whoa! There was an overlap. So you are actually coming in at 110. Let's give this maybe some more frames. There we are. So you should be done 115, and then you. They have to go over 15 frames. There, so 15 to 130, yes. Okay, but then this one is coming in. Okay, so you, AA, select the last two keyframe sets, and then we move this over. Oh, you see sometimes that's the point, and somewhere are the keyframes. Here are the keyframes actually. So from here, this goes over there. The other things are the handles. Okay, so then this will end at 145. Never forget also to save your animation. So zip, 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 zack, zack, zack. Very nice. Zack, zack. Okay, beautiful. Yeah. So, and then now to give this maybe a rest phase, maybe another 15 frames. So 160 before the animation would restart from the beginning. Yeah. Okay. Pretty nice, no? So that's actually how you do kind of like an exploded view coming together by having all the pieces moved from the outside to now do actually the opposite. So how do we move everything back? It's actually not too complicated. Essentially, we need to move all the keyframes. We need to make duplicates and move them to the back in the same order. Or we could render this film as one piece. So it's one movie, and then we invert the movie in a video editor, and then we stitch these two sequences together. I will quickly show you, because I think this is easier, how we can do this via keyframes, because I don't know if everybody has access to a video editor. So let's make this for the moment to 400 frames. So this I would like now to bring backwards. So this is now my rest phase. I will do an keyframe location, and then we set 15 frames. So this would be 175. Very good. And this piece actually goes to there, to the outside, and keyframe. There. Then we can select this one at this point now, keyframe this position. Then we go another 15 frames, so 190. There we are, and we move this one out. Zack. Then we can do this one. Location, and this is 205. Also here again, you want to move it to the same distance, so the speed will be the same. Okay, and then now we can decide, okay, from all you, who will be the next piece? So here, those we would like to actually rotate back. So I, for the rotation, and then we go to 5, so 220, and this will be 0, and I for rotation. Okay, because now we can select this, I for location, 135, there we are, and zoom. Bring this one down, there we are, beautiful. Then we can do this one, I for location, 5 to 40 to 50. So you see, it's actually not really complicated. It's pretty easy. So this piece is out, which means then, yeah, this we can move out. So 65. Okay, then this can go next. And then this is 70 and 80. And then select this one, keyframe, and that would be 95. Okay, perfect. So 300. Okay, 300. Let's see how this looks. Don't forget to save in between. Nothing is more frustrating than crashing and then you lose your work. And this is not only for this program, just in general. Shift spacebar. Chung, chung. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Yeah, that's it. So I think this actually was much easier to quickly do than doing any video work jiu-jitsu. Awesome. To bring this exercise to an end, let's take a look at how we can render this out as a very fast concept rendering, which will be very appropriate during a presentation or design process when we are not really looking for a high fidelity rendering, but more something as a quick visualization how something could work. Before I continue, actually I noticed the table leg is actually out of my frame, so my camera might has to go a little bit lower. So here is actually that empty, and I can move this empty down a little bit there. And when I scrub through, I hope everything stays outside the frame, and it does. Very good. Cool. Actually, that's a pretty cool animation too. Here's my exploded view. Flop, flop. The best exploded animation I ever saw a student do was literally an exploded animation. He just blew up a hand dryer. That was really funny. And really funny were the industrial people for the presentation who didn't understand actually the humor in it. They didn't really get it, but well, was their problem. Okay, anyway, so what do we want to do? Let's actually make sure we are inside the Eevee render engine. That real-time render engine is not very realistic, but it can get very close, by the way. It's made for fast renderings. That's perfect for what we would like to do. So let's switch actually our display maybe to Studio so we can see the actual material. So there we are. Okay, so it's kind of like a boring gray. Let's give this object first a material. There we call this wood. And then here we turn this on, viewport shading, or we can actually at one point even turn on the rendering. But let's go to this for the moment. And then let's give this maybe a nice, I don't know, orange, whatever material you would like to give it. Maybe this. Then we can select all these objects we have. There, make sure it's all selected, and then make sure the last object is selected is actually where we added the material, so the wooden board. And then we can go to object, make links. Where is it there? Link materials. Let me undo. You see what's going to happen. See, all these materials now, or objects have a link to that material. These two things should be steel. So let's make this chrome. There we are. And we can maybe turn at this. Okay, we make this high glossy, fine. Okay, good. There's somewhere this piece there. Click and click. Cool. Okay. So perfect. So now this is actually textured. Let's turn on the rendering. You see the rendering is really fast and it's kind of dull. We don't really have much of light, so we can set this to white, but then you see everything is kind of washed out. 0.1 maybe. So we have sunlight, but it's very flat. I mean, if we if we want to do a pretty nice monochromatic animation, this is actually pretty cool to do there. It's like a cartoon, but nah, that's not what we want. So we need some lights. Here, Shift A and then light and point light. Oh, look at that. We move this one up, maybe to here. And then we can see through our animation, how does this work? Well, not too bad. We get nice illumination on top of the pieces. These metal elements seem not to be that super illuminated. The color is the same, so we might have to revisit this material. And this front area is kind of bad, so Shift D the light, bring this one down, maybe here, top view, maybe to this corner, maybe bring this up kind of like to here. This light is maybe too strong. What about 5? Yeah, what about you? 5. 10. Okay. Again, we don't want to spend too much time, but here I have a really nice gradation of color on the piece that makes the object look more three-dimensional. This is also a very basic material. I also have some shadows going on. So if I select this light, I can actually turn the shadows off. That sounds kind of wrong because everything has shadows, but maybe we don't really care about shadows here. I just want to be able to see how these objects better work. So this could be sufficient. Cool. Okay. Yeah, not too bad. Maybe a white background. Currently, well, we have this gray world. We could go to film and make this transparent, but then, well, the background, well, is transparent. Shift A and plane, bring this plane down, way down there, and then S and we scale this plane up. Go to material. We can call this whiteboard. Go down and then emission white there. Yeah, now we have a white backdrop that does not interfere with anything. Now, actually, the lighting, you might have noticed how the lighting now works so different. H, Alt H, so maybe this is actually not strong enough. What about 15? Ah, look at that. Better. 20. Yeah. 10. Okay. We can also go to color management and give this some contrast. Oh, yeah. Nice. Now these actually work much better. The screws actually really look more like metal. Okay, beautiful. For those who are interested in it, I will select one piece here, then I will go to here. Here we have reflectivity, maybe 2. We can set roughness to, I don't know, maybe 0.1. Select the metal, metallic. Okay, we don't really see any reflections because in these real-time render engines, you don't have it, but we can turn something on called screen space reflection. And then this can help showing actually reflectivity on objects. There you can see now how there's actually some reflectivity, but based on how we zoom in and out, you see this can fade in and fade out, which, yeah, there's like some shakiness happening. That's why I don't necessarily super like it. It's very distracting. So for this type of application, I simply would, for quick rendering and for you as a beginner, just keep this at flat shaded. It's not the most interesting one, I know, but okay. Oh, little tiny detail. You see here, this got really bright. That's because my light is here. Maybe there. Okay, yeah, this is better. Beautiful. Cool. Okay. So not too shabby, not too bad. How do we render this one out? Then we can go to this is our format, 300 pixels, very good. We would put this to the desktop. There we are. I already have frames. Then if you would like to make a frame rendering, you can do this, or we go, for example, AVI JPEG, or based on what codec you would like to use. I will select this one and then never forget, save, and then do render animation. And you see that actually goes fairly fast. That is the beautiful part about this type of technology. No, because actually there are some lights. You saw there were light reflections on it. They reflected actually the lights. Not sure if this was good or bad. We can see. So we are now actually at 100 frames. So we have 1/3 already done. Doesn't take too long. Okay, somebody has a good joke. This would be a perfect moment to say it. There, everything is moving apart. Very good. We are actually getting close to the end. There, this folds back. Now the screws goes out. 40 more frames, and then we can take a look at the video. And then I think we're also done with this video tutorial. Perfect. So there we are. Let's take a look. So when this is done, you can go and say view animation. What's actually quite funny, it places animation upside down. That must be some sort of an error, because here's my video file and everything, as you can see, is correct. So beautiful. We made our first exploded animation. So I hope this actually was educational and enjoyable how to do this. I hope you saw how easy, honestly, animation is. It's just very kind of like methodical and kind of like copy and paste. You just need to have time. You can't rush it. And you need to have somewhat an idea of how you would like to do anything. To take this, for example, a little bit further, what I could do is after this piece, if it's of an interest, after everything was put together. So let's say this is the last piece. So, okay, so here, there now everything would start. So after frame 160, I would have to select all these objects, which I will do right now. I'm just hiding my empty and I'm not making these lights selectable. So all this I select. You see then everything here is selectable too. I can press AA to deselect everything. I can select all this. And for example, add as much needed frames as possible into it when I would like to animate now also this empty, so that after everything is put together, maybe I do a small rotation around like this. Now this will 15 frames is maybe too short, maybe 30 frames. And then you have to adjust all the other keyframes as we demonstrated, or as I showed you inside this video. Okay, very good. Perfect. That's